Hello, hello, hello. It's Wabbit. And I'm going to break down a little jam that I did. Um, I don't even know what oh, yeah, I do. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can figure this out. This is Nappy Afternoon. This is a breakdown. And the name came from the auto generation of the Poly Tracker Plus. If you don't want to hear me do any talking, I'll have a link just to the jam over on my Hamilorian channel. And over there, in case you're new, I just post the video that doesn't have what the gear is being used. I don't talk about what's being used because for me, it's about the ears and what we hear. And that channel gives me the opportunity to put either a picture, maybe a video, combination of something, just whatever I'm feeling, and then have the music in the background. And then here on this channel, which eventually I will change back over to the Crazy Wabbit, that's a long story, I can do this. For example, go behind the curtain, talk about what's being done. And yeah, so I know the camera probably has some things out of focus. That's okay. I'm going to assume most understand the Tracker Plus. If not, please go find the video. I'm not here to sell you on any gear. That's not my job. I don't work for Polyen. I have no affiliation. I just happen to be a big fan of the products that I have, the Polyen Tracker Plus, the Play Plus, and the Polyen Synth. Anyway, so first let me just kind of talk about what's going on with the general setup. And I'm now actually in the phase of getting out of my space that I call the hutch and just going mobile. Even though this is at the dining room table, it gets me out of my space. The sun's coming in, Reggie's hanging out in the back there on the cat nook, and it's just kind of a good vibe. Apparently the kids say that's important to do that, so I'm going to take it. And what you can't see in this picture is I've got a hard case that has some essential items that I need to do what I need to do. So it starts obviously with the phone is recording everything. I've got a tripod mount and then a little cell phone holder. I am using the DJI Mic Mini. So the receiver is down here. I'm holding the transmitter. And then I've got a 3.5 millimeter cable going into a mono cable that is going into this mic input. The Zoom L6 is my audio interface of choice. And then I've got the master outs coming from the Zoom L6. 1/4 inch left and right goes into a 3.5 stereo, and then a Sonos line adapter. That's how I get the audio from here into the phone. I'm also recording on here. If I decide to save this for a track for Bandcamp, same artist name, Hamilorian, and if for some reason the audio fails in recording, I've got a backup here, and then I can just marry and post that. Because again, not that I'm doing any kind of masterpiece, but the last thing you want to do is jam and then realize, oops. So it serves a couple of purposes. Why I'm a big fan of this device. The other interfaces that I've tried don't allow me to do that. So that's that. This is being powered by a external power bank. And then I've got headphones in here. You might not be able to really see in focus, but I apparently didn't charge up my AirFlies. I'm trying to get this as portable as possible. I'm wearing headphones. They're a little bulky, but I should be able to use some AirPods to listen out of here. But that's why this is off to the side, because I haven't used it in a while, and that's user air. Then the Polyen Tracker Plus, again, being charged by the power bank. It's got 3 outputs, so that's really nice. And then the audio is coming out of the 3.5. That's going into a left and right into this channel here. One of the things that I've worked on is try to get smaller cables, so I invested in some smaller USB-C to USB-C, and the same thing here with that. And then obviously the tracker. So very basic, very minimalistic, nothing terribly fancy. And then when I'm done with all of this, I'll just tear it back down. The essential items go in the case. This doesn't. Again, I'm working on something for particular music gear. And the idea is to grab one item, maybe two. If I'm not going to use hardware, then the iPad would be here. And that all can be in self-contained in one particular case. So it's kind of a work in progress, but this allows me to actually do something now. And yeah, coffee is obviously mandatory. Get a little sip here. So basically for this nappy afternoon, I've been for the past couple of days dusting off the Tracker Plus and playing with it more. And for me, it was just going into the sample loader. I've got a ton of different sounds on the SD card, and I just basically picked the first folder and just started randomly pulling in. So I pulled in a kick, a perk, a rumble, shaker, hat. So I just pulled those in. And then I started to kind of mess around, and I was using the fill option, trying to get something a little off, 5, 7, etc. And the first time I did this, it was complete. I don't know if there's anything such as mess, but my brain couldn't find a pattern. I think that's one of the things we try and do, and I was struggling with that. So I started all over, and then I started to put the percussive elements. I think I have 7 tracks on here. I changed up some of the notes to kind of give a little variety. I didn't put any effects on here. And then as I got to the kick sound, I used a rumble for the kick. And initially it was just kind of all over the place. And then as I listened to the rest of the perks, which were all over the place, a mess, I opted to go with a standard kind of a 4 on the floor to give it a little bit of structure, if that makes sense. Again, I may be talking, doesn't make any sense to you, but that's what I was thinking. So then the performance basically was I muted the first 6 tracks, and then I started with track number 7. See if I can do this here. Hang on. So I would play this, and then just basically would unmute each track. And a lot of this is just kind of flying by the seat of my pants for the performance. I think as I got down to only having track 1 open or muted, I muted 2, 3, and 4 to kind of act like like you would do as a DJ maybe. I don't know. I'm just talking. And then brought them back all in. These are things that you observe people do. Then once everything was unmuted and playing, let it go for a little bit. And then I went over to the perform, and I basically used the step repeater a few times, and then I used the delay and the reverb. Those are the only 3 things. And the one thing that I'm finding as I mess around is not to get so carried away with stuff. I mean, I could put a bunch of things on here. I could put some effects on these, and there's really no rules with that. And I really wanted to play with this standalone because my brain was like, oh, I can run this through the iPad, and I'll do that because you can take individual tracks here, run them through effects, because essentially what you have is you're kind of limited to the performance effects that are on here. I'm not saying they're bad or good. That's just what it is. And I just really wanted to focus on this. It gets me that muscle memory. And I'm just using this basically as a jamming device. I mean, you can also record on this, but then that requires me, in this setup, I can't do that because I don't have any line in, and the power is what's powering this. So if I had the iPad, but again, I'm not trying to go there right now. It's really, again, getting the mobile thing set up, and then doing this. I set all this stuff up in terms of the patterns first thing this morning, and then playing this now. And then maybe I'll sit down here for a video one day and do like what others do. You start from scratch, and you just start kind of throwing stuff in there. And it may sound like garbage. It may sound like something. And I want to do more of that kind of a thing. It's nothing new. It's nothing earth-shattering. but it taps into that creative aspect. It allows me to get the technical geeky stuff going on. It allows me to get the musical stuff. And then when I want to have just a thing to put on the other channel, again, it's just the music. And every now and then I will come behind the curtain and talk about a particular one. I'm not going to do it with every one. Who knows? I may go for 5 or 6 in a row, and then I may go without. But I kind of like to have that little bit of a balance, just to kind of share with you, what other people are doing. There might be some ideas in here. I learned using the DJI mic in this setup from somebody else. I mean, this is kind of the beautiful thing about this space, is you start to see what people are doing. Maybe my AirFly thing, even though I don't have it working right now because I didn't charge it up, that might be an idea, because maybe you're trying to get portable. Maybe IEMs are better for me. I'm really trying to pack everything in this case, and having headphones, because I'm here in the house, it's not a big deal, but I don't want to carry those around with me. I'm rambling on. So again, nothing terribly exciting, but this was fun. Very fun device, just a jam. And this is coming from someone who looked down upon the tracker workflow. I remember clowning on this. Oh, this is an Excel spreadsheet. And I would use the logic that Camp Dawes would say. I do use Excel spreadsheets in my full-time job. That's part of what I do. So why do I want to come do this when it's time to clock out? But it's fun. And I'm using vertical mode. I know you can change this to horizontal, but it works fine. Excuse me. But I just love having a mess around. That's really what I'm continuing to do here on this channel. So that's it. Thank you for your time. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope to catch you in the video. Until then, keep jamming.